The new quality standards are designed to increase the success and safety of our students. Many students feel like they're really not cut out for skiing because many of our lessons are ending up after a long, expensive hour over here struggling to even try to make turns on the first Wonder Carpet. This is creating a problem of being so slow that it's going to be hard to be successful turning. The other case is when the instructor takes the student too high on the hill, and this is usually going too high over on top of the long Wonder Carpet, and then the student comes down, either has a hard crash, crashes into somebody, or the instructor, in this case, is trying to rescue them, and then creating a dangerous situation for both of them. So we don't want to make our students feel like they're either in over their heads or they're not being successful. And to do that, what we'll do is look at a few examples here of what it is that we want to try to achieve during the course of our lessons. And so when we get somebody to the point where they're comfortable with speed, they've gone downhill, they've got their good athletic stance, then we're ready to start working with turning with them. Usually the best place to go is where it's a little bit steeper over here on the rope, and make sure that they're getting plenty of speed before they get going. Speed is important because going faster gets rid of the friction, makes turning easier, and it also increases the forces so that the ski can work better. So the faster we go, the easier it is to either point our toes one way, back down to the hill, point them the other way, or if we're having them push on one toe, go straight, push on the other toe. In either case, speed is the key. If they're in a good position with enough speed, they'll feel the skis start to react as they're trying to make their turn. This is what will create success, and our students can end up getting a sense that they are in control. Let's take a look at another example. And with this one, we'll see. So in this case, again, the key is good position over the feet, getting plenty of speed. And now when we turn, we'll have most of the momentum is still moving down the hill. And then as soon as we stop turning, it just keeps flowing straight down the hill. This is allowing our momentum and gravity to play together in the same direction. That's what it is that we're trying to shoot for. And when this happens, we'll see here again, this is starting downhill, slight little turn, then everything gets pulled downhill because momentum and gravity are playing in the same direction. This allows the turning to happen from the ground up rather than turning the shoulders and leaning and doing a lot of the things that our students are struggling with that make them feel like they're not successful. The thing that we'll notice here is that if we do have students that are struggling, one of the ways that we can get an even larger effect of having momentum and gravity play together is by making very small turns. So start them off with speed, and this time if they're going to push on one toe and then the other toe, it's just a super quick little push, push, and it makes these really small turns so that momentum hardly ever deviates across the hill. It's mostly heading down the hill, and now gravity and momentum are playing together, and the students are feeling the response of the skis and the turning again happening from the ground up, not using the upper body to lean or rotate. And we'll just watch this as a nice example of how people can be looking at the end of the turns. If we get them standing on their skis right, heading downhill, notice it does not take a lot of half turn. Minimal turning, half turning, that's all we need to do, not these big turns all the way across the hill. If they are standing on their skis right and turning from the ground up, it just takes minimal turning. That's what we're looking for. Okay, and let's take a real quick look at a student here who is actually struggling, and we're seeing this is what a lot of our students are looking like at the end of their lessons or during the lesson. is they are trying to ski with their upper body. Look at how the shoulders are turning and the leaning is happening. This is the big struggle that we see with the people, and then they're feeling like, oh, they're really not in control, not making the turns very well. And the reason this is happening is because we're either skiing in a traverse across the hill or we're trying to make very completed turns. And when that happens, this top half of the turn, and that's what we're looking at here, is we're looking at this student trying to do the top half of the turn first. That's this part up in here, and that is what is helping to reinforce that rotation. So if you're coming across the hill like this, rather than doing the top half of the turn first, if you'd want to just have a little bit of play where you would have their right or their downhill ski work with gravity again by pushing on the downhill ski first, and then they'll have a much better chance of getting the start of that next turn going. This is kind of called a fan exercise, and you can look that up on the exercise page of the website if you don't understand what a fan exercise is, but it's more the bottom half of the turn rather than the top half of the turn. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this might look like in a group situation. So here's an instructor leading their group down the hill, and what we'll notice here is that as the kids are coming through, and we'll start to watch this guy here and the rest of them, you'll see the shoulders turning and the leaning. So they're leaning into the hill and turning. That's because they're trying to make these big completed turns from a traverse. And look at the next one in the silver there behind, leaning inside and turning. And then you'll even notice that the person in the group, who is one of the helpers in the back here, is rotating the shoulders and leaning in to try to get through the turn. So what we want to do is we want to work with gravity, get people in a good situation with speed, moving down the hill, and then be able to develop the turning from the feet up, not using the shoulders. And we don't want to use the big traverses and the real completed turns because that's reinforcing the upper bodies. This will create much more success. We start working them up the hill after they have a sense of turning their feet and working from the ground up, because then they can add more turns, less turns, and turning to a finish. With these new standards, we'll create much more success and confidence in people that they can become skiers.